All right,
Looks like.
we are live.
Okay, guys, welcome to the Oklahoma Model Railroad Museum and Association. Rick Rawson and myself, Terry LaFrance, are going to give you guys a tour around our layouts and the building. So come on in. So this is our entrance. Of course, if you go left, you go into our north side. That's a Colorado themed portion of the layout. You go upstairs, that's the O gauge, which is Colorado themed. And then if you come to the right, this is our modular theme layout. Here we have our club president, museum president, Phil Howell, and our mechanical genius, Jack Underwood. Say hello, fellas.
Hello.
And if you come to look to the right, you'll see a New Mexico themed portion of the layout. This is a conglomeration of two different clubs modules, the old Comrail Club and the old South Canadian Club. And these are modules that are from those two organizations that have come together to make one layout. Now, as you see, we've got a lot of different terrain, and it's a single track through portions of it, and then it's double track for the rest of it. And here's our library and meeting room. And on on the right, you'll see some of our very old donations from back in the 50s and 40s and 60s even. And then you'll see we have a new donation here is an S-scale layout that was donated to us. And if you aren't familiar with S-scale is 1/64th scale, and it is between O-scale, which is 1/48, and HO, which is 1/87th scale. And this is a pretty old set, and it's kind of historic in that it was a lot of kids got into model trains back in the 50s and 60s with the AC Gilbert and American Flyer S-scale trains, and then they went on to either HO or O. And this was donated to us recently, and it's a really marvelous setup. It's got 2 loops of track, three loops, and all the switches and buttons and whistles. Classic old transformer with the big throttle levers. It's a magnificent piece, and we're thrilled to have it. And what we're going to eventually end up doing is having it where it folds up out of the way for meetings, and then when we're not trying to use it for a meeting room, it'll fold down for people to operate and enjoy. So, and as we continue around the room, you'll see some more of our library and displays. We've got a very lovely G-scale Santa Fe pasture train up top. Show them that. And more antique AC Gilbert and American Flyer S-scale stuff. So we've been really lucky to have some really nice things donated to us. So here is a transition area from our staging yard where we can loop back around if we need to in this intermodal facility. And then this transition piece that I've personally been working on gets you in and out of the intermodal facility. And I've built these bridges just to add some interest. It's certainly not done yet. And then as we cruise back around the layout here, you'll see the modular sections as we referred to before. We have a thunderstorm sound and light effects, but it's not connected right now because we take it to the train shows, and so we haven't had a chance to hook it back up again. But when you come out next time, you'll be able to enjoy that sound and light effect. So cruising through, this is our narrow gauge modules that have HO N3. It's 3-foot Colorado narrow gauge along with the HO. So you can see the smaller, narrower track and ties on the narrow gauge sections. But it's inspired by the southern Colorado, northern New Mexico lines of the Rio Grande and the Rio Grande Southern and the Colorado Midland. And as we transition around to this other side of the layout, we have what we call Newtown, which we've spent a lot of time detailing and making lights work, which eventually we'd like to have everything lit, but this is where we've started and expanded from. So we've got the Rexall with the signs. We've got the low bridge with the caution lights, Dairy Queen, lots of vehicles, lots to see here. It's a fun piece of the layout. And this is all going to be part of our traveling layout in the future. When we get to a good point, we're going to start building an Oklahoma-themed layout on this side layout, or the side of the building.
Someone asked about when's our open house.
I don't have a date for that yet. It will probably be sometime this summer, but follow us on social media, and we'll give everybody a heads up when the dates are finalized for our open house.
Yeah, they asked about clouds. Yeah, we have LEDs up in the clouds. Yes.
Yeah, there are LED panels in there, and this is not cotton. This is batting for making pillows. It's a lot easier to work with. It's more, it's got kind of more of a silky texture to it, so it moves better. It doesn't clog up like cotton does a weird thing. This batting works a lot better. Phil's our cloud genius.
Yep. What happened to the tornado? The tornado is on our travel layout.
Yes, the tornado is.
Eventually, we plan on having a tornado inside, but right now we have it on the travel layout.
Yeah. But when we start doing the Oklahoma theme layout, that'll be a must-have situation. So as you move past the intermodal facility, we've got this is all staging, so there's not a whole lot of scenery here. We've got caboose tracks and various cars that some of these are club cars and some of these are members' cars. The military train belongs to one of our members. And we move on into through the wall.
Someone said wreck some houses and paint more on the water tower.
Right. That might be triggering.
That's what he said. Too soon?
So here is the north side, and this is leads into our Colorado area. And so when we were setting this site up, a lot of the members wanted to have Colorado narrow gauge, so that kind of compelled us to be Colorado themed for the most part. So we're in the middle of signaling this junction here, and our electrical genius, we have three actually, but the LCC signaling expert, Daniel, is hard at work with his clan of minions installing signals, and we've already got the switch motors wired up. We just got to get those installed. So that's what's happening here today is the mass signal project.
Yeah, let's take a peek under the hood, right? What do we got going on?
Hello.
There you go.
Hope you guys like Metallica.
All right. Can't have it on there too long, otherwise we get in trouble for copyright music.
This is Daniel. He's our LCC expert. He's done a tremendous amount of work, and we cannot thank him enough for all the work that he's put in. I've tried to learn as much as I can in a little bit of time that I've had with him to do the very basic amounts of signaling programming, but there's lots to learn yet.
Someone asked about membership. Yes, membership is $240 a year. And
it's $20 a month, but
$20 a month.
We prefer it to be paid quarterly.
Quarterly, and yes, you could do a semi-annual too. So, but total is $240 a year. You can break it down however you want. We also have out-of-state people or out-of-area people. So if you are 75 miles away, you could also still be a member as well, but with a discounted rate. Okay.
Yeah, we don't charge you as much if you can't be here.
Is the layout computerized? Yes.
Let's show that.
Oh yeah, let's go back over this way.
So,
Sorry.
The LCC system is still being finalized. Daniel's
He's pulling it up for us.
So that's our track model board, and then we've got it works through our JMRI. When you say it's computerized, it's not controlled by the computer, but the signals are through the LCC system.
So you get live real-time updates right here on the screen as we flip a switch there, and you would see it actually happen. Oh, he is actually controlling it. Sorry.
You hear those switch
You
motors.
hear the switches moving as he flipped the switch.
And we also can program our DCC power on this
Yeah.
programming station.
Yeah, it's our programmer right there. So every one of our DCC locomotives can be all programmed. All right.
Hands off.
I just want to remind you where you left it.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. All right, so we've got a stockyard and feedlot here for a packing plant that is also serviced by an ice facility. One of our members did this whole 20 feet of this, all done by one of our former Secretary Larry Savage.
Are you able to track their movement, or is that outside of the capability of the software?
It tracks resistance, so if you've got a caboose or a Fred.
It tracks current flow.
Right.
Current flow.
So-
There you go.
So if there's a locomotive, it knows where that's at, and if you've got a caboose with lighting or a Fred, it picks that up. If you want to track individual cars, you have to put resistors across the axles, which, at some point could be done, but that's a lot of work. Right now, we're just trying to keep it between the head end and the rear end, and that gives you a feel for what block your train's in.
So there's on my phone, if I put my hand on the track here, you'll see it activate. And if I take it off, so that's how, even just the small or high resistance of my hand it'll detect that.
That's pretty cool. All right. So don't lean on the layout.
Yeah, well, that's good advice.
Yes, this stuff has come a long way. You are correct.
Yeah. Still, we've got lots to go. There's a whole
Yes.
section still to be built.
All right, want to talk about here?
So this is a locomotive facility that Larry built to, it's steam to diesel transition in its design theme. And then around the corner, we've got a more modern diesel facility with heavy repairs. Power's not on.
Yep.
Well, power should be on.
No. Oh, yeah, you're right. Maybe that part's not on.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
We do have a button here that people can push.
hey, Daniel, is the signal system off right now on the track? Okay, so. Gremlins. So this town we're coming into is kind of a conglomeration of several ideas of towns. For the purposes of dispatching and managing the layout, that junction where all the construction is happening, we consider that to be Pueblo. This is very much like the joint line going to Denver, so this is kind of a combination of Pueblo, Colorado Springs, and one of our members he has a elevated train that he wants to install, so it's going to have a Chicago, New York style elevated train, which you wouldn't see in Colorado, but it's really cool to operate and to look at. So we've added that as a operational and attraction to make it more enjoyable for people to watch. So we're in the progress of building that now. We're 3D printing all the truss work to support the track, and it's going to go around through kind of a downtrodden part of the not quite slum, but lower income area. Then it'll come back through the skyboards and reconnect and make a loop.
And these buildings were donated to us as well.
So yeah, most of them were. Yeah,
Yeah, these big tall ones.
Some of them
Yep.
were filled.
Recently donated, yeah.
So this is where the signaling kind of kicks in. Got kind of islands that we've got to fill in between. Those aren't wired yet. So here is, I call this cold water because it's like a cold water flat.
Okay.
And we get around here, here's our Union Passenger Station, and originally had set it up for vehicle access across the railroad there, but the elevated tracks are going to make us rework how that works out. So this is all passenger yard, and we have several people who have stored their passenger trains here. And there's a refinery. This is an old module that came to us from Comrail.
Yep.
That it needs a little bit of TLC. I'd like to light this up at some point.
Yeah.
Got a lot of work to do, but we've got a list of things that we're working on, and it's probably number 75 on a list of 300 of things we want to get done.
Talk about those cranes there.
Those cranes were donated by a former vice president who was a big fan of cranes, and they are incredibly detailed, and apparently they come semi-assembled, and you have to string all the wire. And Bobby Shirley did all that hard work to run all the cables to make that crane actually is operational if you know how to make those pulleys and stuff work. But we don't touch it too much because it's just nobody wants to knock it over. Let's just be honest.
All right.
So we still got a lot of scenery to work on. As you can see, we've got a few aspens I've installed up there, but it's by no means near enough trees. Again, it's a constant effort to get towards a goal that's probably will never be achieved because you can always improve your position, as we say in the military. So coming around here, this town is temporarily nicknamed Twin Lakes. We're probably going to call it Red Cliff or maybe Fountain, depending on what we decide. There's an actual town in Colorado that it reminds me of Red Cliff, so it's probably going to be that. So we have a tunnel that runs through the scenery that goes to the other side for vehicles, along with a little picnic vendor area there. We actually have a miniature national forest sign that I was able to order online. So that is a actual real national forest in Colorado, the Arapahoe National Forest. And then you have little water features here. And a lot of these trees were made by scratch for one of our members, Kevin. These are all wire armature with the flocking, and Kevin does a great job with these trees. And he also did most of the whitewater rafting.
Talk about the narrow gauge.
Yeah, and this is our narrow gauge track is here on the red ballast, and then our main line full standard gauge. I had to do a little bit of work to transition that crossing a little while back, so I've got to replace the ballast in that section. Then we've got the third level up there is an operational roadway. We've taken AFX vehicles and we've wired it where you have two-way traffic, and you've got motorized vehicles that run around up there when we're doing actual operating. You have trucks and cars both. And as you can see, the signals are this part of the layout are lit. And those are Rio Grande style hooded signals. So I've modeled this upper section kind of is based loosely on Tennessee Pass, whereas the lower section is on the Moffett line. Whereas you come through the joint line to the depot over there, then we transition off to the Moffett line and the Tennessee Pass line.
But Jonesy here says he's this is why I don't have a layout. I have no creative capability. I'd be more useful when it comes to writing software to control the layout.
We can use that kind of help.
That's right.
There is something here for everyone. You don't have to be the creative type. We can use electricians, construction people, modelers. We need every kind of skill set because there's not enough of everybody to do it all by ourselves. So the more the merrier. So code writing is definitely welcome.
Especially if it's statement list.
If it's what?
Statement list.
Statement list.
Statement list.
So this upper bridge here was originally a single track, and we realized that this whole line had no place to meet trains on, so we went in and pulled out the single track and then added siding. So the bridges are double track Walthers 125 foot, no, they're 250 foot bridges, and with foam supports. There's more of Kevin's handmade trees there. Again, we need 50 times what we've got right now. And then this town up at the top here, where the narrow gauge meets the standard gauge, is going to be loosely based on Leadville because of the way the lines kind of meet here and the way the town's kind of set up. But it's all very much compromised for space and multiple creative inputs.
So Jonesy says, I want to set up a test lab with some track and work on a setup that uses Raspberry Pi to control the trains and communicate with central server to handle switches and signals. Probably overkill. No, actually, you can absolutely use Raspberry Pis to create your own DCC network. It's actually it's called DCC Plus is what we do when you're using a Raspberry Pi. You can also use Arduino as well to do things like that. We've used Arduino as well for just lighting up building lights as well. So we have our own video that we've done many years ago that is actually on YouTube. So you can go back and on how to utilize Arduino and programming your building lights. But you can absolutely use a Raspberry Pi. People do that all the time. There's Facebook groups for modeling railroad with Raspberry Pi Arduinos.
So this is an operational yard that we keep it pretty cleaned out because we're having to get across it to work on scenery. One of our scenery construction experts, Mr. Bob Nantois here, is hard at it today. Say hello, Bob.
Hello.
Hey, Bob. There you
So he's working on that. Hope he remembers to pull his tape up this time. Yeah, it was like running up that last week, and
Yeah.
there's tape on the left.
Somebody can climb up there and pull that out.
It was no big deal. I just backed down.
We're going to talk about this bridge, right?
So this bridge is handmade by a couple of our members, Ed Birch Jr. from Whistle Stop and David, what's David's name? David Walker. And they spent months and months hand building this.
Each stick.
Yeah, it's probably 15 feet of track, maybe 12. And it is also the number one hardest part of the railroad to pull a train up because you've got minimal grade compensation, and it's coming off a 2% grade onto a 10-degree curve. So if your locomotives can pull this curve and hill, it'll pull anything on the layout. So we still have some members that fail to understand that. So back around here, this is another signal island. You've got the target signals for the joint line style and Moffett line, and you've got the hooded signals for the Tennessee Pass line. And this is the spur coming out of the yard here, or the yard lead. So we've got, you see the target there?
Yep.
And this is all very much under construction. This is kind of our working towards once we get this looking sort of like a layout, then we can start working on the south end. But right now we've got so many things to get accomplished here. It's going to be a little while. But
Yeah, someone said it looks like
2 years of good construction time because of COVID. So we're still getting spun back up. And we only have a handful of members that are regular folks that come up and work out. So if you want to come up and learn how to do this, motor hand car houses and puts the barrels and the mailboxes out and all the detail stuff, and I've got a ton of that stuff that I need help with. These guys need help with scenery. There's always something we need help with. So if you don't feel like you can't volunteer because you don't know how to do something, we'll teach you.
All right. Yeah, switches aren't cheap. Like it's a fortune. That's what he said.
Yeah. Well, yeah, turnouts and toggle switches. Both.
Thankfully, yes, donations.
Yeah, donations are what keep us going.
Yeah.
Both equipment donations and monetary donations. If we don't have donations, we close the doors.
Yep. So you can even go donate to us by going to www.omratrains.org/donate, and that will help with paying for all these expenses here to keep the model railroad hobby alive here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, because I've personally spent out of my pocket over $2,000 on just signals, just the signals.
Wow.
And most of it I'm probably not going to get reimbursed for, but it's my passion. I think they look great when you see them out there. It's worth it to me to because otherwise this would not be a signal layout.
Yeah.
Well, guys, and then we're going to stop here. This is our little in-scale portable layout that it's surprisingly popular for something that's not that big. We have tons of kids that love to come and run this because it's a DC layout. Anybody can bring their own equipment up and run on it, and it's an easy, fun layout to run. We like to take it to shows if we have the space authorized, and so we operate everything from in-scale to G-scale here. We just don't have the layout set up for a G-scale. Maybe one of these days we'll have a garden outside. But that's the layout, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up on social media, on our Facebook page. Rick can answer the emails we get.
Test track. Do we have a test track?
We have a strip of track that you can operate.
And we also have a little
Programming track.
here.
We don't have a very big loop test track.
Anyway, yeah.
Yes.
We have 3 feet of test track.
You just need to test your locomotive. Just throw it on the layout and go.
We're done.
That's how you test it.
Depends if it's DCC or not.
Right. Right.
So that's all I've got, gentlemen, ladies. Thank you for checking in with us today. Rick, if you got anything you want to add?
It says I have a large tote full of trains that hasn't been used pretty much. Are 40 years old. Yeah, we can. If you want to donate, that'd be great. You can bring them by on the weekends. We're open till 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. So, yes, if you want to donate any of your stuff that you're not utilizing anymore, you are absolutely welcome to bring it by here, and we will accept that your donations.
We may not use it for our layout, but we can sell it at a train show or through our company store here.
Yep.
And all the income from our company store and the train show is accounted for as a donation. So we can provide you with a 503c tax credit for your donation.
Yeah. And they're European. That's fine too.
Yep. Oh yeah. Those, we find all kinds of folks that want to buy different things from us at the train shows.
If Phil's around, maybe we can grab him to get the key to go upstairs.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Phil.
So yeah, here's outdoors. As you guys are probably aware, we got our virtual. I was gonna say virtual fan, but we got our rail cams up now. We are no longer with virtual rail fan anymore, but we have our own cameras up there, live streaming 24/7 right now. So feel free to always go to look at our live channel feed up there, watching the Red Rock Subdivision here, right?
Show them the mural.
Oh yeah, the mural. Okay. And right on the outside there, we do have this beautiful mural as well. So you can definitely see us out by the interstate too, and yeah. So Jonesy says he's got some European Fleshman.
Fleischmann, yes. We will happily take that,
Okay.
and then we can find new homes for it if it's nothing we can use.
All right, so we're upstairs, and this is the O scale. They used to do modular, and this is their old portion of what they did for module. Now they make it a permanent one. But there we are upstairs. You can see outside as well. We have great view of the track.
So O scale is 1/48 scale. So this is going to be a double level layout up here. That is the Dallas Union Station model. Then, excuse me.
It won first prize at the I think it was Rocky Mountain Show last year.
Last year, yeah, they went to
Yes.
well, it was the O scale show they went to.
Oh,
last
O
year.
scale. Okay. Yep. Yeah, they got first prize from that.
It was a kit that they put together, and it looks to scale because that's a big station.
Yeah.
And so this will also be standard gauge and narrow gauge. All the track except for staging is hand laid. And I've personally helped them do a little bit of this. It's pretty amazing the quality of the work that's been done up here.
So I know we've had a lot of comments about this mountain. Do you have any
Question?
do you have any input on how they did this?
Expanded foam. They
Right.
sprayed they bought like a 5-gallon can and sprayed it like with a giant airbrush because it covered so much. And so it's all expanded foam. I mean, you can see what it looks like. And then it was carved and stained to look like rocks in Colorado.
Someone said, isn't O scale supposed to be 3 rails?
That's 027. 3-rail 027 is basically the Lionel stuff. This is scale O, 2-rail. 027 doesn't necessarily stick to scale either. That's basically the difference between toy trains and model trains.
And this is the narrow gauge on this side versus standard gauge.
Correct, sir. That is standard gauge on the outside, narrow gauge down low inside. Low and inside. Show them close up. So these switches are all hand laid. They've been individually ties, spikes. Over on the other side, there are dual gauge hand laid switches, which are masterpieces of art. I'll have to show you those when we get over there. They're incredibly complex to build, and the guys did an amazing job hand laying those. So it's been a while since I've been up here. They've added the stock pin. It looks really cool.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, he said it looks really cool. So
Thank you, Mike. Come up and see it in person when you can. So this is New Mexico. I forget which town it. It's maybe Santa Fe. Yeah, this is Santa Fe.
And I'll do it this direction. On this side, we also have displays of their trains too.
Yeah, these are all 2-rail O scale, beautiful models. Over here we have a rollaway section that, when operating, this big triangle connects to this side on your left here, and it ties the turntable into the rest of the track. We keep it set aside while we're not operating, so it's just easier to get through here. And some more stuff on display. So coming along here, this is dual gauge track. You ran into this in several locations in Colorado, Salida being one of them. And if you look close, you can see all the soldering where you've got HO, standard gauge rather, outside of the narrow gauge. They shared a common rail on one side, and then the narrow gauge had its own third rail through the middle. It's pretty impressive. And there's none of these are by any means standard off the shelf. These are all custom handmade. All these switches through here, dual gauge.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to watch these guys work, and it's just artwork. So here's a Rio Grande Zephyr and a coal train. Like I say, this is a dual level layout. So most of the track's already done on the bottom side. Top side still getting constructed. This is a hinged bridge that Bobby Shirley built, and it is solid as a rock, and the tracks just naturally lock into place. You can see they've got a jumper across the joint, and when the bridge comes up, the track drops down, and you don't have to worry about alignment because they use a hatchback cylinder to hold it up.
We have a separate videos on those. You go back and look at our videos on the bridge.
All right, and this gets into our staging area. Coming around the corner here, around this yard area, back further around, it's all staging. A lot of this is still hand laid too. There's almost none of this is snap track or flex track. They had some for a while, but the goal is to have it all hand laid, and that's what you see. Now, if there's some staging over here that is going to be invisible, that'll be with flex track. So here's the control station. They use the LCC system that we use downstairs for their signals. Daniel has done a lot of work up here, so the technology is compatible both upstairs and downstairs as far as how the LCC system works and how the signals are operated both upstairs and down. So their system is essentially identical to ours. We just have more signals on the layout. But I've been squirreling them away for years. So around the narrow gauge this is all narrow gauge up here. They've done a lot of work since I was up here last, and it continues to progress forward. Obviously some tunnels here. I like the way they use the foil to give a it gives you the rough cut rock look on the inside, so it doesn't, so you don't have to carve or cast anything. You just cast the portals. And they got portals built out of, and supports out of 3D printer. That's what those are. Those trapezoid shape. Those are the tunnel supports that are printed. We use a 3D printer to make those, and then you just put the scenery over the top to give it that rock feel. This will be an arched bridge. Now it's obviously self-supporting with the hidden truss work on the inside. So the bridge work will just be cosmetic. You won't have to worry about breaking anything and causing the bridge to collapse. And all more scenery coming. This will all have foam put over it and then scenery added. You can see the size of the trees we're talking about. Those big spruces. And this is the back to where we started.
Yep.
That's the O-Gauge guys have done an impressive amount of work and done an impressive level of quality on their track. It is impressive. I use that word a lot because it is.
We have a workshop too, back here in the back. I guess maybe peek you through the window.
Yeah, it's got a 3D printer and paint booth with air vent.
So yeah, we got
It's our lab.
3D printers back there and our paint booth back there.
And it's all our supplies, well, not all the O-Gauge guys' supplies. And then we've got a couple of desks for doing work on.
Yeah.
One of the things I've learned about working with these guys is even when you get brass locomotives, they don't always come ready to go out of the box. Sometimes you still have to do adjustments and tweaks on them because there's not a huge production line of brass equipment out there. So when it gets made, sometimes it's something that you may only get a run of 20 or 30 on, so that elevates the cost. And it sits in someone's garage for 50 years until they sell it, and then it goes on eBay, and then you're lucky if you find it, but it's been setting, some of the technology is outdated, or some of the wheels need to be fixed. So you never know what you're going to get with some of this old brass stuff. And I've just run across several times helping the guys from upstairs that you can spend a lot of work getting these locomotives in shape to run. That's
All right. I think that's about it. We didn't have any more questions. So thank you guys for watching, participating, and especially in the chat there. That was really helpful. But yes, please come on out and visit with us on the weekends. We are open on Saturday between 10 to 4 p.m. or 11 to 4 p.m. And then Sunday is 1 o'clock to 4 p.m. also. So yeah, please come on out and again, make your donations as well. It was much appreciated. You can also go online to our website, omratrains.org/donate. omratrains.org/donate. And you can
PayPal.
also make your donation there. Okay. Yes, we accept PayPal and that's where. And no, we don't do the Venmo. We do Square, but that's not on. I don't think it's on the website there. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching, participating. So see you guys next time. And again, go back to our rail cams. They're live streaming too, 24/7. Thanks. What? Something to say?
what?
I can hit cancel. You got something to say? You got something to say?
You got something to say. You got something to say. You always got something to say.
All right.
When are you at a loss for something to say?
All right. We're done.